whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o tā ringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Oh, tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā rā tātou te iwi.
Ai, kia ora everybody, and welcome back to Taringa, tēnei punua pāho, and I'm so excited because we have someone else to kōrero with. Ai, e mihi ana ki a koe hariru, kia ora e te tuahine hariru.
Kia ora, kia ora.
Nei mai ki tā tātai kaupapa ki te punua pāho nei. Hariru, Roa and I work together. Ko ia te kaiwhaka Māori. She's the official translator, te reo translator of Te Wānanga Aotearoa. And she's been on maternity leave. I whānau mai tā rāua ko tana hoa pepe, ko hine kori kori. Yeah, and koe ke te tiaki a hine kori kori?
Taku hunga wai.
Oh, lucky. So, the tuhine's got somebody to babysit hine kori kori. Hoi anō. Nau mai tātou, and I think it's timely actually that Hariru comes in on this podcast, this particular one, and as you all know, we're back. We've done our rotation and we're back to kupu. And ko te kaupapa o tēnei rā, ko te...
Te reo o te kāinga.
Te reo o te kāinga. And Hariru can translate that for us. Kia tērā kia koe.
At the moment, I'm going to translate it as baby speak, because koina ngoku whakaro I tēnei rā.
And that's cool. And I know there'll be lots of mummies out there, and daddies, mummies and daddies. Meki, tātou te iwi. We've got, kids, tamariki mokopuna, nieces, nephews. So, te reo o te kāinga. Talking about the language that you can use at home. So, koe nā te kōrero I tēnei rā. Firstly, though, before we get into talking about some of te reo, I just want us to think about the word kāinga. And those of you that don't know, kāinga is a word that we use for home. And home can be a lot of places in a lot of contexts. So sometimes when I'm saying e hoki ana ki te kāinga, it could be that I'm actually returning to the pā or to the marae. And same with a lot of you out there, or it could be going back to where you've got a connection to. But I think in this context, we're talking about kāinga, where you live, your home. And taku mōhio, ko te kupu kāinga, comes from the word kā. So where your fire would burn, that would be considered your kāinga, or where your fire would burn. Hoi anō, it's a little bit of whakapapa o tērā kupu o te kāinga. And we're going to be talking about some kōrero, kupu. We're just going to have a general discussion really about te reo o te kāinga and what it means to us today as well. So kia ora tātou katoa. So where should we start?
Well, ki taku kāinga, ko te nuinga o ngā kōrero ki te kāinga, ki te whaere, ko te reo tohu. He reo tohu, mā ngā mātua e tohu ngā mahi a ngā tamariki. Yeah, so really highly instructional.
Yeah.
If it's not that, he reo kōwhete. He reo whakatika. But in that space, I think you tend to speak to your children more than you would to your partner or your spouse. Because, he reo anō tērā.
That might be another episode. Actually, we might have to do that one in parts too. Yeah, no, true, yeah. So, mo te... Ia koe kore ana mo ngā tohu, ngā te reo ngā whakahau, so commands and instructional.
Right.
Probably one I want to touch on is one that I hear a lot of today, is when you're telling tamariki, some tamariki or whoever, to get down off something. And I hear a lot of e heke. But when I was growing up, my kuia used to say e tuku.
Right.
Right. E tuku. So we're going to put that one out there. And I think there is definitely a difference between e tuku and e heke. So, yep, that's something instructional you can use. Say you want to tell your kids to get off something, they're playing on the chairs or the lounge suite, jumping around on your new lounge suite you just bought or something.
What is the difference? I te mea koina hoki I tōku whare ko te e tuku ke te kuputika. But I'm not sure why. I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, I think because e heke, could be wrong, I think because heke is an intransitive verb. Ne, so you have to say,
It has to follow something.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has- oh, yeah.
Tuku is a kupu mahi, so I think that's why tuku was more frequently used. Harere put me on the spot there. But that's a good question. Yeah. Because actually, I'm really bad when someone asks me why. I just say, because it is.
Yeah,
A lot of the time it's because I'm in a rush and I haven't got an answer there and there, put some thought into it. But yeah, I think that's the short answer.
Right.
Yeah, that difference between e heke and e tuku.
So that's with instructional language, tue to your children. It has to be short and sweet, has to be sharp. So e heke needs to have a follow-on. It's not complete in itself,
Yeah.
but e tuku does.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's a preferred way of speaking. Hei, te atamariki. E tuku.
Yeah.
E tuku ki raro.
Yeah, koina tētahi. Yeah, and I'm just going through now what I can remember what Nan used to say to us and stuff when we were little. Probably one that we always used to hear when we were little to get us out of bed was matika. She'd say matika and e maranga. Yeah, I think they both sort of mean the same thing. I think one is sort of like to first like arise and then maranga's like get right up. Yeah, but we'd hear through the house, all the mokopuna would be in bed or sleeping and we'd hear matika, matika. Yeah, whereas if it was my mother, I'd be like, matika! Te reo o te kāinga is a real good, because people feel safe at home to use the reo at home and comfortable, and you're with your tamariki, your partner, whoever i roto i te whare. So he wairua anō i roto i te whare. And e te iwi, most of the time we're at home, you know, we're in informal setting situations. Neha, pe whio, pe whakaro o tari au?
Ai, pewhera ai. He tohu, he kōrero ōpaki, just real... ai. Like, kia tēnā kupu.
Just to let everyone know, Tari au just done this really cool hand movement.
It's like conversational koina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ōpaki is real informal.
And you'll find that everybody has their own speak. Hey, everybody has their own speak. Your kids, and it's not necessarily language that's coming out of their mouth, but it's language in their face, in their body, and attitude. And you start to hear that in speech anyway, as you grow as a family unit when you have growing tamariki. But that's I think that's what Tariao was trying to show in her hand gesture, explaining that ōpaki and that kind of language.
I know I like it when people start learning te reo and they like trying te reo out at the table a lot because they can use homai te. So homai te means give to me the. And it's a real good way if you're learning te reo, if you're starting out on the te reo journey, that's a good sentence to start off with homai te, the directive, and then after that comes the noun.
Yeah.
Say, homai te tote, give me the salt, or homai te prawa, give me the bread, homai te pata. Yeah, so you can use a lot of te reo at the table. One cool thing I heard, and this was from Jared, and we were at, it wasn't actually at someone's house, we were at a wharekai. And he said something that was very, very Māori. I thought he said to me, e hoa, homai tātāwa tote. Yeah. So, mate, give me our salt. They didn't say homai te tote. He said homai tātāwa tote. And then another time, you just look at it and you look at what you want and it's in the tone of your voice. Tātāwa tote. And then the person knows. So I know a lot of you listening, you get on the te reo journey and you learn the reo from the book, so to speak, or i roto i te akomanga in class or wherever you may be. And then etama, you go out with a whole lot of te reo speakers, or you sit with, some kaumātua, and they're chopping and changing their sentences,
Yeah.
Leaving words out, and you're like, hey, wait on, I didn't learn that. I didn't learn that, but you just got to go with it. That's all part of te reo.
there's some kupu that you find that don't really have a meaning, and most of it is in the tone. Like we had one nana, our Ngāti Maniopoto nana used to say aiare.
Aye.
Aiare.
Aye.
And so how do you translate that into English? Don't know, but you hear it in the tone. And then we had the other nana that used to use a similar word, but it was slightly different from Ngāti Haua, and they say wiare. Wiare. And then they'd shorten that to wee and ai and those sorts of things. So they're not words that you can there aren't real equivalents in English, but you just have to go with the tone. And you know the tone.
Yeah.
Growing up and saying aiare e kare.
Aye.
Hea tō mahi. So, te kino mai o hoki o tō mahi. Aua momo kupu aiare, and then wiare, or wiare, hea tēnā e moko. Oh, te pai. Aua momo kupu, kāre he tino kupu Pākehā. So those are some types of words too that definitely come out of the kāinga. Yeah.
I use wiare, but I might say ai, but not aiare. But yeah, mai ai. You just done it before when you dropped your phone.
Yeah.
And it came out quite naturally. I always thought that all Māori use wiare, but it seems to be a Tainui thing. Neha.
Yeah, whakamahi au te wiare.
Yeah, and because I've said it before in some... what's that word? Yeah. One that my nan used to use was awaia. And she'd go, awaia. She'd say it like that. And then I thought that was our kupu. And then I went to Tangi and Tauranga and I had another nan use it, which was pretty cool. Sort of like, not validates, but sort of reminds you that, oh yeah, ko te reo Māori tēnei.
Right.
Yeah, she added a hoki onto hers. It was a awaia hoki. Yeah. So there's heaps of cool words like that.
Yeah.
Ta wii, ta wa, aiare. One of Nan's one was ai.
I think as we were growing up, my cousins started to say, instead of just saying ai, they'd go aish.
Yeah, aish.
And then there was this aish word that used to go around in the 90s.
Yeah.
The 90s, eh?
We still sometimes say aish.
Yeah.
Yeah, aish. I think I...
Evolved.
Yeah.
Evolved.
Yeah, so ko te reo tērā o te kāinga. And I think, I don't know what the word is to describe that sort of thing I roto I te reo. Language, those sort of words, the we, the where. Even like, you know, I think it's, like, it's is something you might hear a bit more, maybe down the coast, maybe. It's, don't really hear it's over here.
Yeah.
But I think it's came from e tā. E tā.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's become, and then now you've got some people say e tā Harry.
Yeah. It's almost an accent because it's not actually dialectal. So it's almost more of an accent that people adopt as a unit, whatever unit group of people that is. They adopt a certain accent that includes certain language, certain kupu, like the Americans y'all and all that kind of. It's an accent. It's a certain accent.
Yep.
So we have our we's and our ai and our all of those sorts of things that follow that tone. And those certain kupu that roll into those tones that wouldn't necessarily roll into any other units, sorts of tones.
And e tikara wāti tērā kōrero, he reo ki wainganui tēnei kāhui, he reo anō ki wainganui tēnei kāhui. And it becomes a natural way of our communication, I guess. And some of those words that we use, they're familiar to that grouping, but not to another. And it's sort of like we were talking about kiwaha and things, but I think this is another sort of branch of that. Some of the younger generation, they substitute one of the letters, I roto I te reo Māori, they substitute a vowel for another one.
Oh.
Yeah, so any word with a E in it, or with the E sound, they substitute it for something else.
Oh, they do that deliberately?
Yeah.
Oh, as a code?
Yeah. I wainganui a rātou.
Right.
Yeah, ko te reo tonu tērā. Yeah, so they know what they're on about.
Right.
Yeah, e tehi.
Right.
Engari, you know, it would like change every day, but there'll be just those one or two that would stay. Perfect. Oh, mana. Like wena momo
Oh,
kupu.
yeah, that mana.
Mana.
Mana. Yeah.
I think that's still going, eh?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
still sort of use mana.
Not as often though, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, te wā tuatahi, I heard that expression. I was
Yeah,
like, mana who? What are you talking
Mana.
about? Yeah, that's mana. What do you mean that's mana?
Yeah, there's still, a couple. But yeah, that was probably one that stuck with everyone.
Just as we were laughing, I sort of remember, that's when a lot of the exchange would come out. Was ia rātou e kōrero paki ana.
Yeah.
E kōrero noa ana. Kei te rere te kōrero, so the kōrero's just flowing. And all these sayings would come out. My mum was one, she used to say, no, I don't know how to speak te reo. But if she was with her cousins or with my nan, in that grouping, then ka rere tana reo. And that shows the effect of a group on the language of somebody. For instance, we had a tangi in our whānau not long ago, and one of my granduncles came back and he'd been away for some 50 years or something. He hardly ever comes back. And he started speaking te reo. Like te reo would come out, and the reo he was using was the language of what I would consider of a native speaker, how he was using it. The funny thing was he didn't know he was using it. But it's just because he was with the whānau and he was at the pā in the right environment, the reo was coming out of him. So I suppose one of the learnings from that is, you need to sort of put yourself in these situations with language speakers. And we've shared before, it's really good to organise things at the home where you're comfortable, even if it's a shared kai. Invite, tell everyone to bring a plate, and then you can practice some of your te reo while everybody's at home and they're in a comfortable environment. You can try out your kiwaha that you've picked up on here on taringa or wherever. You can use your reo whakahau, which is your instructional commands and things like that. Yeah, it's hard to... Well, you can't speak if you haven't got any mates. And then you can have a laugh at one another when you get things wrong or whatever. It's all good. Ko te mea nui kia puta te kōrero. Kia puta te kōrero. Ko te reo tērā o te kāinga. I read an interesting thing on... Someone put a post up. He asked if people had learnt their language from a book or if they'd learnt their reo from their tūpuna. And it created a bit of a debate. This was on social media. It was on Facebook between some people because the debate was, well, what you get out of the book isn't the real deal. Me hoki ki ngā tūpuna. And a lot of the people on the post that commented that were whanaunga to this person, they said, well, that's all we got. You're obviously lucky that you have a father who sat with the old people and considered to be a native speaker. But a lot of people haven't got that, so you got to make do with what you've got. And the book, kāre aku mata ki te pukapuka, e pai te pukapuka ki au, the learning from the book or going to a class or anything is a lot of the time it's the stepping stone for people to learn te reo, more te reo, and to build their confidence so when they do get in a situation with te reo speakers, they're comfortable to use the reo they have learnt out of the book.
Yeah. I tend to tell people, and Te Reo Te Kāinga is probably a really good example because that is the place where you can say anything and it doesn't matter. And I find that children, I try and tell people that I talk to about reo anyway that are still learning and asking for advice and stuff like that. And I say, speak to your kids. Speak to your kids. They're not going to judge you.
Yeah.
If they understand you, they'll just follow through with whatever you've said. If they don't, they'll ask straight up, what? Or ha if they're speaking, if they go to kohanga or kura kaupapa, they can say ha kao mama. But I mean, they don't pass judgment, they're not there to judge you on anything, and it does become very functional in that way. It's just, does it make sense, does it not? If it does, then they'll follow through. If it doesn't, then they say so, or they just ignore you like your kids ignore you anyway. So it doesn't matter.
I like that that word you used, functional. And koina, ko te reo tērā.
Right.
And if you can, we've already got a relationship there with your tamariki. So the language will naturally flow in time. Neha, I roto i te kāinga, I roto i te whānau. I got a niece, she's in an interesting scenario. So they moved to Aussie. Me and Nahui, we had her boy for some months. and I ako ia I te reo, I te wā I aia I a māua, and he could speak quite well. For his age, at the time he was only just turned 1 or something, he had a second birthday with us when he left. When he went to Aussie, he wasn't there long, and we went for a holiday. And I was, speaking te reo to him, and he looked up at me, and he said to me, Koro Praone, I can't understand what you say anymore.
Anymore?
Yeah, because he'd been away from the reo. His mother hadn't used it, if she's listening. And I nearly cried. I actually did. My eyes welled up, and then I got a bit angry, and then I just had to take into context the situation my niece was in. But his reo, even though we had him in kohanga, he went to kohanga, but most of the reo he got was being at home with us. So he could understand some of it, but he was missing, as the months went on, holes appeared, and they got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Well, recently, my niece came home from Aussie because she realised that wasn't for them, because her boy was always wanting to come back to the pa and be with the whānau and stuff. And just recently, she started doing tārangi, and she took him along with him to the tārangi classes, and his reo started coming back, because he sort of already had the confidence to use. He wanted to use it. I think he felt out of place that all of his cousins were here in Kura Kaupapa, well, they're really his uncles. And when he come back, they could all speak te reo together, and we'd all be speaking, and he could only contribute in the conversation so much. So that pushed his mother to learn as well, to get her A into G. And he ended up going to our tārangi with his mum, and they both grew together. And then just this year, she took him for a look at a Kura Kaupapa, and now he's at that Kura Kaupapa. So, I think that's an interesting situation, but definitely just picking up what you're saying, the reo was very functional between them.
And because I think kids, they really are sponges, and it's always in their best interest. Most children crave interaction, so if they're going to be amongst a group of Kura Kaupapa kids, they're going to eventually learn how to interact with them. So they'll learn kupu, and they learn it through the other ways of communication, which is body language, tones, and all those sorts of things. So it is easy if you open your mind to it. You have to open your mind to it, and you have to get rid of all of those challenges and obstacles we put in front of ourselves. And we do that naturally as adults, I think, which is why kids are such sponges, because they don't already have those things that they've learnt over the years. I looked after this, she must have been about 4 years old, this young girl. Her mother had come over from America. She was Native American, and she had an exchange with Waikato University, and she was working with my father. But she had to bring her baby over with her, and I looked after her baby for, it must have been about 2 weeks, just every day from about 9 to 5 for 2 weeks. And by the end of that 2 weeks, this little girl knew pirangirare. Pirangirare was the kupu she ended up taking home with her.
Want lollies at the
Because I would ask her, pirangirare. And for the first week, she didn't understand except for me, for my action, getting a lolly and asking her if she wanted a lolly. But by the second week, she says, pirangirare, pirangirare. And I mean, that's how it was in her best interest to start learning how to say that. So she learned, and it was actually quite passive, because I didn't actually realise I was doing that. Until she had already gotten it and understood it and started using it, that I realised, I just taught her a sentence, a short phrase that she ended up taking home with her, and started telling her mum, pirangirare, and she's like, what? And I said, Mum, I'm speaking Maori. And this is a 4-year-old. And her mother had told me that when they'd already gone back, and she was emailing and said that, yes, Sierra speaks Maori to me now.
Do you keep in touch with?
No, this is a few years ago. This is before I had children.
Whoa.
So it was a long time ago, but yeah.
I just want to pick up on something, because there's a saying, the best learning is when you don't know you're learning. When it's just, it happens passively. You're saying, well, yours was the reverse. You were just doing it naturally.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the best teaching too, is when we're just doing something natural, as opposed to thinking about, all right, what shall I teach them? Just letting it happen passively, or as we say, whai te wairua. He whea koe, Tariao, because you know, I haere koe ki te kura kaupapa.
Mm-hmm.
And ko tō māma he reo Māori tōna.
Ai,
Nā, pehe te reo I Wainganui a kōrua. How's your
karekau.
language interactions?
Ne.
Yeah, between me and my mum, we don't speak Māori. I've talked to her about it, and ko te mea ki ai, he whakamāia ki te kōrero Māori ki ai.
Is that always, like, even
Yeah.
lo e tamariki ana I te pērā?
Oh, no.
Ah.
Oh, when I started going to
Kura reo.
Kurereo, and she won't speak Māori to me anymore. So yeah, she's whakamā. I did mahuru Māori. I didn't really. I did a week.
And it
koe-
was a week.
Yeah, a week. A week, man. And that was us. We talked about it. And she was like, yeah, we're going to do mahuru Māori. So tīmata, but as like the days went on, it sort of, she stopped talking Māori to me.
Yeah.
And koia, he whakamā nōna, because I think she thinks that I'm going to correct her. Yeah. But ko Akui Rāmatu, they don't speak Māori at all. Like, they know kai and panana. And when I was doing mahuru Māori, I had them for the weekend. Started talking Māori to them. They turned to me and they're like, why are you speaking like that to me for auntie? They're like, what are you saying? So I ngana tōne mo te roanga o te rawikene. Paku whai hua, yeah. Paku, nei. Aha kua tā mātou tautohe mo te roanga o te wikene, yeah.
So what would be your advice to any, because I'm sure there's lots of parents out there that are listening that have kids
Yep.
at kura kaupapa, that when they get to a certain age,
Yeah.
you know, they might start feeling that they haven't got enough reo to interact. What would your advice be to those parents?
Kōrero.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, just talk. Like, we are not going to judge you
Yeah.
whatsoever. Yeah, hei hoa kōrero mō tamariki mō. Yeah, kōrero.
I'm going to put a plug in kia koutou I ngā mātua e whakarongo mai ana. There's a really, really good Facebook page. So I hope you're on social media. It's called Māori for Grown-Ups.
Ah, yes, that's good.
Administered by Stacey Morrison, who's the wife of Scotty Morrison. Both her and Scotty started a parent support group, I roto o Tāmaki. And it was for parents that had kids in kohanga at the time, and they needed more reo to communicate with their children because they didn't have enough or they weren't confident enough. And it started from there. And it's grown, and I think they meet, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's weekly or once every fortnight. But anyway, she sticks a lot of cool stuff up on that page, and there's lots of parents that interact with the page and they're asking advice from one another, or it's quite inspiring. So yeah, if you're on, that's a good page.
Heaps of cool resources on that page too, eh?
Lots of cool resources. Māori for Grown-Ups.
Posters and...
Yeah. So haere ki ko rā, Māori for Grown-Ups. A lot of real stuff we talk about comes back to attitude a lot of the time, and your openness and your willingness to give things a go, and at the same time to be forgiving when you make mistakes and things like that, and don't even think, you know, just realise and be conscious that it's all part of the journey, and don't get too hung up on it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
You're the only one who's really judging yourself, because
Koe nā hoki.
people aren't going to look at you and say straight up, yo reo was o tiko.
Yeah. Notice Hariru said tiko, not teko. That's tiko, not teko. Yeah, taitoko katoa I te rā whakaro. And you know, tēnā koutou katoa. Sometimes I think we're just talking to each other and I forget we've got an audience until, you know, I'm walking down the street and I get someone come up and they say, oh, I enjoyed this podcast on da-da-da-da-da, and different ones like message on Facebook and stuff. So we appreciate the feedback, and yeah, any other whakaro that may come up on our social media page on Taringa, which is on Facebook.
Our waiata of the week is E Parira.
E parira, ngatai ki te akau. I love this song.
That's all I know of the
Composed by Praere Tomoana. And Hariru's going to learn the kupu to this waiata. And you can too, so listen along and Google the words, the kupu. Anei.
Te parira, matai ki te atu. Te hotura, ko taku manawa. Haue hari amai, te aroha I ahau. Te iwi e makatangi noa. Te nara tahuri mai, e te tau kia mai ki au. Tēnei rā ahau, te tāni nei, mo hau kua wehea nei. Haere rā, mahara mai, e te tau, te aroha. Haere rā, ka tūturu ahau, haere rā. Haere rā, ka tūturu ahau, haere rā.
Ka pai e te iwi, that was Te Waiata o Te Wiki e Pāri Rā, composed by Praere Tomoana, who's one of the prominent composers of his time, along with Apirana Ngata. And actually, they're very, very good friends. And there's a debate, actually, whether, well, I believe it was Praere Tomoana that wrote Pō Kare Kare Ana. But yeah, up the coast in Te Tairāwhiti, yeah, they say otherwise. They say it was actually Apirana. Hoi anō, one of the other songs that Praere Tomoana wrote was I Runga o Ngā Puke, which was a wartime era song that may be one of our waiata o Te Wiki. And in that waiata is this week's kiwaha.
Ka mutu pēa.
Au e te pai. I just had to put that part in because that comes after. But the kiwa is ka mutu pēa. Ka mutu pēa. And ka mutu pēa means that's great, I suppose. That's good. Yep. As we've said before on when we had our introductory kiwaha segment, don't translate kiwaha because they're just going to confuse you. So like if we translated that, ka mutu pēa would be, might be finished.
Yeah.
Hey. But that's not what it means. Ka mutu pēa means, oh, that's good. That's great. Good on you. So you might say, Tareo might say, oh, I've got a new job at such and such. And I'd say, oh, ka mutu pēa. Oh, that's good. Hariru gets her PhD. And I say, ka mutu pēa. Ne?
Kua mutu.
Yeah, kua mutu. I stick to my gym regime I've just recently got on, and I say to myself, ka mutu pēa. Not mean I'm gonna finish, but yeah. So koe nā te kiwaha o te wiki, ka mutu pēa.
Ka mutu pēa.
Ka mutu pēa. Nō reira, kua mutu. Hoi anō e mihi tonu ana kia koutou. And this won't be the last of Hariru. She'll be coming back to join us for some other sessions. Mana, he kupu whakamuti ngā kōrua.
Kao.
Kia mana nui.
Koina, kia manawa nui e te iwi, kia manawa nui. Ka waiho tēnā hei kōrero whakamutinga. Hoi anō e rere tonu ana nā mihi, mai konei te bustling metropolis o Te Awamutu. I te ipurau, ko mātou tēnei, ko praone, ko Hariru, ko Tariao, e mihi atu nei tēnā koutou katoa.
Bit whakaronga pi kari kari. Gather up close everybody buddy. Taringa, taringa, taringa. Yeah, tahuri mai ki o. Whakarongo ki te tangi a te kori mako. Kōrero flowing out the hooker force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds. Kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te. Kaupapa tino whakahira hira. Whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani kani move that body. Kani kani move that body.
Taringa, he mea tuku nā te wānanga o Aotearoa. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe. Taringa, whakarongo mai.